Good morning, everybody. This is Leandro Taverner from the Umoja DFS training team here in Valencia. So, welcome to the session on the intra-mission stock transfer. So, I got a confirmation from some colleagues that you could hear me properly. Could you also confirm that you can see my screen? You can see the presentation because we are about to start. All right. Please make use of the chat because we are around 35 people connected, and you can make use of the chat to. So thank you, Gunalan, for confirming. You can make use of the chat to ask any question you might have during the presentation. So this session it's about how to transfer stock between different storage locations of the same mission, and it will be composed of a presentation, and then we will do also a demo in the training environment. All right, and we will talk afterwards about exercises, hands-on exercises, because after this presentation, by the end of this week or early next week, we will send to all of you a couple of exercises so that you can practice by yourself in a training environment. So you will be provided also with some training credentials, and you will be able to perform these transactions that today I'm going to show you in the training environment. You will be able to do it by yourself in the training environment. All right. So thank you very much for attending, and let's start. Okay. So there are different types of stock transfers. All right, and it's important that you understand the differences. All right, so here in this slide, we are gonna list the different type of stock transfers. So the first one, that is what we call the bin-to-bin goods transfer, and this one it's about how to transfer stock within the same warehouse. All right, so it only involves, as we will see later, the warehouse roles. So it does not change the storage location. It just changes the bin location within the same warehouse. All right, so this is what we call the bin-to-bin goods transfer. So welcome to the attendees that are connecting right now. I can see a lot of people connecting. Okay, so besides the bin-to-bin goods transfers, we have also the stock transfers within the same mission or within the same plant. Okay, and this is what we are going to focus on today's presentation, about how to transfer stock within your mission. Okay, there are different ways of performing this stock transfer within the mission, and basically we are going to talk today about the one-step transfer and the two-step transfer. Meaning, in the one-step transfer, the inventory user will only perform Migo once. So after posting Migo, the stock will be transferred from one storage location to another one. And within the with the two steps, there will be a Migo transaction for issuing out from one storage location and another Migo transaction to receive the goods in the destination. All right. So these stock transfers, remember, are always within the same plant. And what is really important to know is that they can only be used when transferring stock from or between storage locations linked to the same fund and fund center. All right. So please remember to mute your microphone and feel free to ask any question or comment in using the chat. All right. Otherwise, we will not be able to hear the presentation. So it's important to understand that these stock transfers and the normal scenario are always between storage locations linked to the same fund center. and we will provide more details about this in the next slides. Then, another way to perform intra-missions transfer is using the intra-mission STO, but currently missions are not using that much this intra-mission STO because it's a longer process to accomplish a similar output. Okay, so today we are not going to cover this part, this STO, and we will focus on the one-step and two-step transfers. All right. Then here listed as point 2.4, you have the exceptional process of transferring stock between technical units. What does it mean? Transferring stock between storage locations linked to different fund center. All right. This is an exceptional case. So normally, for example, you have stock belonging to engineering. Okay. Normally, you transfer that stock to another region, but to another storage location that belongs again to engineering. So normally, you don't transfer stock from engineering to, for example, supplies, transport, or CITS. So this is an exceptional process, and there is also a job aid on that regard. But today we are going to focus on the most common scenarios that are about transferring stock between storage locations linked to the same fund center. All right, and then point 3. All right, it's about transferring stock between different missions or different plants. Right, and this one we will have different WebEx sessions that are planned for the end of February and beginning of March, and we will discuss about how to transfer stock between different missions, and it always involves the unstock transport order. All right. So today, focus for this session is how to transfer stock within mission and plant, and the most common scenario that is transferring stock between storage locations linked to the same fund and fund center. All right. So let's move ahead. Okay, so here you have the type of transfer and the roles involved. So for the bin to bin, okay, so to move goods within the same warehouse from one storage bin to another storage bin, only the warehouse roles are involved. You see that no inventory users are involved, so this is only about warehouse transactions. All right. So we have questions about what does it mean, for example, the fund center, and what do we mean by that. All right. We have slides specifically on the connection between storage locations and fund center. So keep with me a little bit more, and we will repeat that concept again. Okay. So bin to bin, only warehouse users are involved, but when we start transferring stock intra-mission, but from storage location to another storage location, then we start having the inventory senior user and the inventory users involved. Why? Because we are moving stock from one storage location to another storage location. All right. The same thing for the two steps intra-mission. So we have again the involvement of the inventory users. In the case we perform intra-mission transfer with an STO, I told you before that it involves more roles and it's a longer process. So in this case, the local supply chain coordinator of each mission will be involved, the logistics user, all right, to perform the outbound delivery, the packing, and these kind of steps. So as I was saying before, this alternative is not being used much by the missions. And lastly, for intermission transfers, that this is going to be the session we will have later this month, then we have additional roles involved, like the local supply chain coordinator, the global supply chain coordinator in Brindisi, and again, the logistics users, inventory users, and warehouse roles. Okay, so today we will focus on these two alternatives, the one-step and the two-step intra-mission transfer. All right. So these WebEx sessions, so today is Thursday, February 15th, okay, and we are having a session on intra-mission transfer. We had the first one last Tuesday, okay, so this one is a repetition of the one we had on Tuesday for the missions that are in a different time zone, and specifically for the inventory user and inventory senior users, all right, that are the ones involved in any kind of intra-mission transfer, all right. Then we also invited the local supply chain coordinator because they should be aware of the different alternatives to move stock, both intra-mission and intermission, and then okay, and then we'll have additional sessions on the intermission transfer that are specifically for the local supply chain coordinators of each mission, and currently they are scheduled for end February, beginning of March. Okay. All right. So before we move on the steps and roles to perform the stock transfer, one thing that is important to understand, and this is related to the question I had before in the chat about the concept of fund center and storage location, it's vital that you understand your EOS, your enterprise org structure, okay? How in your mission you have, how many storage locations you have, how they are linked to the different fund centers, how many warehouses, all right? So here I have, in this slide, you can see the org structure for MONUSCO. The one for your mission should be similar in terms of you have the same kind of concepts, okay? So you have the concept of plant, all right? So for MONUSCO, the plant is CD10, all right? So normally there is one plant per mission, okay? So under this plant, you have several storage locations, all right? So they have also a 4-digit code. So here, for example, in the region of Bukavu, okay, we have 5 different storage locations, one for engineering, one for CITS, one for medical, one for supplies, and one for transport. Each storage location has a different code, right? A 4-digit code, 1101, 2101, up to 5101. So these 5 are the storage locations in the region of Bukavu. The same thing for the different regions. These ones are the ones for Bunia, okay? Then we have Entebbe, Goma, and Kinshasa, all right? So for each region, there are different storage locations. So the boxes in white are the storage locations, and as you can see here, each storage location is linked to a fund center. The fund center that bought or that paid for the items that are held in that storage location. So this is, in this case, this 10159 is the fund center for engineering, the one that paid for all the items bought for engineering, all right? And what is important is that all storage locations linked to engineering, let's say engineering in Bukavu, engineering in Bunia, or in Entebbe, they are all linked to the same fund center. They are all linked to the same owner, right? You can see that all engineering storage locations are linked to the same fund center. And what we are going to explain in this presentation is about how to transfer stock between storage locations linked to the same fund center. Let's say we want to transfer stock from Goma to Entebbe. All right. So we will move stock located in Goma that belongs to engineering to Entebbe, to the storage location owned by engineering. All right. So it's important that you understand that stock is held in each storage location, and then each storage location is linked to the fund center that is the owner of the stock, right? And then in blue, you have the warehouses. So there is a warehouse per region that manages the physical location of the items belonging to each storage location. So, for example, in Goma, in the warehouse of Goma, that is with code E04, we have stock from different owners, from engineering, from CITS, medical, supplies, and transport. So all the stock, it's managed, or the physical location of all this stock is managed in warehouse E04. All right? So it's really important that you understand which is your plan, how many storage locations you have per region, and which are the warehouses that are managing your stock. Okay? So let's continue. Then, in the last, at the bottom of this slide, you can see a link, okay, to a job aid that it will, for each mission, it will tell you the linkage between storage locations and fund centers. So, for example, if we go to that, if you go to this job aid, right, you will be able to click on that one. Okay, so let me move and show to you this this job aid. All right. As always, you can always refer to the Umoja web page. You have the training materials, right, as always, and the job aid. And as a job aid, you have the storage location, design, and FM derivations. All right. So could you please confirm that you can still see my screen? Okay, thank you, Gunalan. So in this, thank you very much. So in this job aid, what you can see is what we just discussed. So for each plant, let's say that now we are talking about Haiti. Okay. So let's say that we want to understand the storage locations for the new mission. So we can just go to the all right. So let's go to Minojust. So for Minojust, the plant is HT11, and here we can see the different storage locations. All right. So we have engineering in one region and engineering in another region. All right. And basically, the two storage locations for engineering are linked to the same fund and fund center. Then for CITS, the fund center is different. For medical, you have another fund center. For supplies, another one. So using this job aid, you can see your structure of storage locations and which is the linkage between each storage location and the fund centers. All right. So let's move back to the presentation. Okay. So let's start by reviewing the steps and roles involved in the one-step stock transfer. How to move stock between storage locations linked to the same fund center and always within the same mission. So we have a sending storage location and a receiving storage location. For example, we are sending from Goma to Entebbe. All right, so we will have two different storage locations. So in order to initiate the transfer, the inventory user will have to post a reservation document, right? The same one that is used to issue out stock, but in this case, movement type, it's 311. And here you have the T code that the inventory user can use to create a reservation. All right? This reservation, as always, it will have to get approved by the inventory senior user, and they can use inventory senior user, they can use their inbox in order to approve the reservation. Once the reservation is approved, the inventory user will be able to, using Migo, they will be able to post the stock transfer. Okay? And after this Migo transaction is done, the inventory part is already updated. So inventory, the stock levels in the sending storage location will decrease, and the stock levels in the receiving storage location will increase accordingly. All right? The only thing that is missing will be the warehouse part. So we will have to complete the picking in the source warehouse and the put away in the destination warehouse. So once the Migo is posted, the system will automatically create a transfer requirement for picking in the source warehouse so that the warehouse people can perform picking, and the system will automatically create a transfer requirement for put away in the receiving warehouse so that the warehouse people, when they receive the item, they can also perform put away. Right? So here you have also the segregation of duties. So inventory senior user is responsible of approving the reservation. Sorry, there's a mistake here. So thank you for pointing out. This one is not create reservation, but it's approve the reservation. So thank you so much for letting me know. All right, so let me correct that one. Okay. All right. So this one is not create, but approve. All right. So thank you. You are completely right. So inventory senior user, it's responsible for approving the reservation. All right. So the inventory part, it's accomplished by creating reservation, approving reservation, and posting Migo. Okay. Then the following steps are warehouse related. So with this stock transfer, that, as we said, is using movement type 311, and that is initiated with a reservation document. After posting Migo, as we said, the stock levels at the source storage location will decrease, and the stock levels at the destination storage location will increase. And then transfer requirements for picking and for put away will be automatically created. And here below you have a screenshot of the Migo. This is a screenshot of the Migo transaction. And the inventory user will have to populate transfer posting based on the reservation document. He will have to indicate the reservation document that was raised and approved. And once with the reservation, all the information at the bottom will be automatically populated and coming from the reservation. For example, the source storage location, the destination storage location, the quantity. So all these details, even the movement type as 311, will be automatically copied from the reservation document. But it's better if we see these details later on in the demo. So this is what you will also practice once we send to you the hands-on exercises. All right. So let's move ahead, because I think these details are better understood directly in the system. So let's talk about the 2 steps stock transfer. And always remember, between storage location linked to the same fund and fund center. So in the 2 steps stock transfer, we again have a sending and a receiving storage location. But in this case, we don't initiate the process with a reservation document, so it's not possible to use reservation for the 2 steps stock transfer. And this stock transfer is directly initiated by using MIGO by the inventory user. And the movement type, instead of 311, is 313. All right. So this is the MIGO transaction to issue out from the sending storage location. So after this MIGO transaction is posted to issue out from the source storage location, the warehouse roles will be able to perform picking. Okay. So the warehouse transaction for picking will follow after this first MIGO transaction. Then the items will be shipped to the destination, and once the goods arrive to the final destination, the inventory user will use again MIGO. All right. The inventory user will refer to the original material document to post this second MIGO transaction, so that the stock levels of the receiving storage location are automatically updated. All right. And in this case, the second MIGO transaction uses movement type 315. All right. So after the second MIGO transaction is posted, the warehouse transaction for put away will follow. Right. So this is the second alternative to perform stock transfer between storage locations linked to the same fund and fund center. All right. So as before, in this case, there is no reservation, so the details are manually entered in the MIGO transaction by the inventory user, because there is no reservation. Okay, so we cannot use 2 steps stock transfer using reservation. So after posting MIGO with movement type 311, the stock at the source storage location will decrease. All right, and the system will automatically create a requirement for picking. Okay. So feel free to ask any question or comment in the chat. So if I don't read anything, it's because you are somehow understanding the different concepts. And remember to mute your microphone, otherwise we can hear a lot of noise during the presentation. So thank you very much. I'm trying to go not very slow during with the slides, because last Tuesday people were saying that in the training environment things were much clearer, so they wanted to have more time in training environment and less in the slides. So I hope the slides are clear, but if there is any question or concern, just make use of the chat. Okay. So we were talking about the 2 steps stock transfer. After posting the first MIGO transaction with movement 313, the stock in the source storage location will decrease, and there will be automatically a transfer requirement for picking in the source warehouse. So this is a screenshot of the MIGO transaction for movement type 313. So in this case, there is no reservation document that can be used, and all this information has to be manually entered by the inventory user in the Migo transaction and not in the reservation. All right. Regarding the second transaction, the second Migo transaction that is used with movement type 315, the stock at the destination will increase, and in this case, there will be a transfer requirement for put away in the destination warehouse. Okay. So how do we, as an inventory user, how do we post the second Migo transaction? We indicate place in storage, and we, as an inventory user, we will reference the second, the first Migo transaction document. And once we indicate this information, all the details at the bottom will be automatically populated, like the different materials, the source storage location, and the movement type. So for the second Migo transaction, everything is driven by the material document created when posting the first Migo. All right. Okay. So we reviewed the steps and roles to perform one step and two steps stock transfer. And during the demo, we will see that depending on the material type, what do we mean by material type? There are materials that are serialized, right? For example, equipment or fixed assets. There are materials like that they are batch managed, okay, like vaccines. So depending on the type of material, the system will request, when we perform the stock transfer, to indicate additional information. So for example, for serialized materials, when posting Migo, the system will ask the inventory user to indicate which serial numbers are being transferred. Similarly, for batch managed materials, if we are transferring vaccines from one storage location to the other, the system will ask inventory user to indicate which batch number we are transferring, because the system needs to understand if we are transferring a particular batch number or another one for reporting purposes, right? Because the system keeps track of the stock levels for each particular batch or for each particular equipment. Same thing for split valuated materials. What do we mean by split valuated materials? These are the materials where in the system we can keep track how many we have new and how many we have old. So in the system, records how many we have new and how many we have old. So when we are transferring this kind of materials, the system will ask if we are transferring new or old. All right. And this one we will also discuss during the demo, because we will perform a transfer of materials that are serialized, materials that are batch managed, or materials that are split valuated. Okay. So as we said before, in the system, for example, by using inventory reports like MMB, we can see how many we have of each type. For example, in this case, we are running this screenshot. It's about inventory report of a material that is split valuated. So in the system, we will not only see how many we have in total, but also how many we have new and how many we have old. So out of the 6,116, we have most of them that are new and only 77 that are old. What do we mean by old? We purchased, in this case, let's say they are computers. So we purchased some of them we issue these computers out, and then we return them to stock. And as they are used, as they return to stock as old. And in the system, we can keep track how many of the stock are new and how many are old. All right. Similarly, for batch managed materials. So in these reports, we will be able to see how many of each batch we have in stock. All right. You're a little bit too quiet. Nobody's writing anything or saying anything. So at least you can still listen to me, right? Okay, thank you, Matthew. It's a little bit difficult to deliver these sessions using the WebEx. Okay, thank you, Cesar. At least I can make sure I have somebody on the other side. Thank you, Byron. So let's move ahead. So we were talking about material types. Don't worry, we will refresh these sessions during the demo. Okay. So this is just a refresh about the Umoja support model. So here we are talking about training, and we are delivering a refresh session on transfer of stock. But we want to remind you that the Umoja support model is still the same. So for you, the training materials available in IC and also in umojajun.org should be your first reference for help. Then you have your local process experts, and in case you have any issue with the system that is in production, all right, you have to make sure that you contact your LPs and that you raise a ticket using your local service desk, all right? So support model is still the same. We are providing training sessions to help you understanding the process and to help you understanding also the job aids and training guides, all right? Okay. Here in the last slide of my presentation, you have a link to the different user guides and job aids you have published, so you can review them in the umoja.un.org, right? The same place we were having a look before. So here, these are job aids, right? So get familiar with the job aids and also with the training material, okay, for transactional users. So here you have different training materials, and the ones that are related with transfer of stock are basically in the logistics execution. Okay, so here you have a link or where you can find information about bin-to-bin goods transfer. So you have to go to Umoja training, logistic execution, and particularly there is a user guide on warehouse management. All right, so you will go to logistic execution and the user guide on warehouse management. Okay, so it should be this particular user guide, the one you should look in case you are trying to do a bin-to-bin goods transfer. All right. Similarly, for the within mission plant, where can you find information about the one-step transfer, the one we reviewed? You can go again to Umoja training, logistics, and there is a user guide that says local inventory movement, okay? In particular to module number 4. All right? And there is again a job aid about inventory movement types. And in page 6, you will find information about movement type 311, 313, and 315. That are the ones we discussed during this presentation. All right. For the 2 steps transfer, the same. You have to review the same documentation. So everything, the one step and the two steps transfer are explained in the same training materials. For the intra-mission STO, okay, there is a specific job aid for STOs, for peacekeeping and special political missions. But as I said before, this particular process is not being used much by the missions. So missions are using one step and two steps transfers. For the exceptional process, in case you have an exceptional case where you need to transfer between storage locations linked to different fund centers, all right, to move from storage locations or between storage locations belonging to different technical units. So there is a specific job aid on that. The exceptional process, transfer between storage locations in the same plant. All right. So you will go to the job aid, and you will see that the process is very similar, but the movement types differ. Okay. I didn't mention before, but I will share with all of you the presentation we are reviewing now after this WebEx session, so that you have all the different information that we are now explaining. Okay. For the for the intermission transfer, in case you have to transfer stock between different missions and plants, you have three different job aids. One as an overview, then you have the process to create stock transfer requisitions. That is the initial document to request the transfer of stock, and then the creation of the STO that is managed basically from Brindisi in order to actually transfer the stock from one mission to the other. Okay, so in this last slide, you have a reference to the different training materials and job aids that are available in each or for each of the types of transfer. All right. So before we move into the demo and into the training environment, here you can find our email address. So for any question, concern regarding this training, or afterwards you would like to address any additional request for training or any question or doubt regarding stock transfers, just you can reach us in this email address. All right. So feel free now to ask any question. Otherwise, we will connect into the training environment and we will show to you how we perform one-step and two-step stock transfer. Okay, so let me connect to the training environment. So what I'm going to do now is very similar to what you will find in the hands-on exercises that I will share with you in the upcoming days. Okay, so I'm going to connect as an inventory user. All right, and let's do, as a first scenario, let's do one-step transfer. Okay, so we said that the one-step transfer is initiated by the inventory user by creating a reservation, right? And we will have to use this T code in order to create the reservation. So let's use that T code, and here we can find the first screen in order to create the reservation. Okay, so the first screen is about when do we need to transfer. So when are we transferring this stock from one place to the other? Let's say we want to transfer the goods today. And here we have to specify the movement type. So movement type, we said, should be 311, right, for the one-step stock transfer. We can use here 311, all right, or we can use the menu, we can use movement type, transfer posting from storage location to storage location, right? So this, if we select this option, the system will automatically populate movement type 311. So I'm going to click in this one, and you will see that the system automatically populated 311. All right? Okay. It's important to make sure that you don't use this. So for example, here, if you use the menu, you can see that you can do transfer from plant to plant, okay? And you have additional you have additional movement types that we then cover, like 301, or for example, set T1. So these movement types are not meant to be used by DFS missions, so please do not use any of these plant-to-plant transfers, because they will create wrong postings in your inventory and also wrong postings basically in FM and FI. So as we said during the presentation, any type of transfer between different plants should be done using the STO. Okay, so any stock transfers that are intermission should be done by the local supply chain coordinator with a completely different process. It's not only about selecting a different movement type, but there is specifically a different process for the transfer of stock between different missions. All right, so the transfer of stock between different missions should be always be conducted by the STR, by using STRs and STOs. So please do not use these two options. All right. So this process, we were talking about one-step transfer. So in our case, we are talking about using movement type 311, the one we have in the presentation. Okay, movement type 311. Okay. So in this case, we are gonna try to transfer stock of plant CD10, that is MONUSCO. So we selected the proper movement type. This is vital. It's very important that the movement type is correct, and you select your own plant. So once we have these two fields populated, we can go ahead. We hit on enter, and the system will request us to indicate the receiving storage locations. Okay, so in which storage locations are we gonna receive the items? Okay, so I'm gonna open a new session to run an inventory report to show to you the different storage locations available in MONUSCO. Okay, so let's say I want to transfer this particular material that is a computer, and if I run it like that, okay, it will show to me the different storage locations where I can find this material. Okay, so basically I can see that I have items. I have more than 6,000 computers. All right, most of them are in Goma, and I have 65 in Entebbe. All right, so I have basically most of them in storage location 1104, and even here I can see that most of them are new. Right, and let's say in our exercise, let's say we want to transfer some of these items from Goma to Entebbe. And remember that in this case, we are talking about transferring stock between two storage locations that are linked to the same fund center. So both of them are engineering, right? So both of them are linked to the same fund center, and we can check that they are linked to the same fund center in the job 8 we showed to you before. Remember, in this job 8, let's move ahead, job 8, in the same one we opened before, derivation, we open it, we go to MONUSCO, plant city 10, and we will be able to see that engineering Entebbe and engineering Goma, both of them are linked to the same fund center. So I can use movement type 311 and 313 to perform this stock transfer. If I was trying to move from engineering Goma to ICT Entebbe, I could not accomplish that with a movement type 311, and that would be a completely different scenario, all right? But normally, stock transfers always happen between storage locations linked to the same fund center. Okay, so let's say our receiving storage location is going to be 1103. So I want to move one computer from Goma to Entebbe. So here, as receiving storage location, I will indicate 1103, right? Or I can even select it using the match code. As a good recipient, I will put engineering Entebbe as it's a free text. I will put the material, the product ID, the quantity, yeah, okay. The quantity, the storage location, so the source is this one, 1104. So Cesar is asking if the system will provide any error message if we try to transfer between storage locations that are linked to the same different fund center. Yes, so the system will give you an error. So let's try to select a different one. For example, if we use 311 as medical, the system will give us a different error message. 311, okay. 3101, that is medical. So medical should have a different fund center, okay? So if we use it here, 3101, it should provide, all right. Okay. So maybe in the reservation, so we will do that case later, okay? So let's do the normal scenario that are linked to the same fund center. And I show to you later that at some point the system will provide to you an error, okay? So let's continue with the normal case, all right? And we will show to you later that the system provides you with an error, okay? So let's do again 311. All right, let's select this one. So let's select the computer one, this storage location as source. So this is the source storage location, and this is the destination storage location. All right. In the same transfer, we can move different materials. All right. So this is the first material. Let's say we want to transfer all vaccines that is located in the same storage location, and also a third material, all right, that is located in the same storage location. So for example, this one, it belongs to the same storage location, but it's a different material. In this case, instead of a computer, we are trying to move vaccines. And as I was saying before, here, instead of new or old, the system will display how many of each batch number you have available in stock. All right. So in this case, for vaccines, the batch number that we have quantity is batch number ending with 1376. Right. So what we are trying to transfer, and I have some questions about this in the chat. What we are trying to transfer is stock from Goma to Entebbe. Okay, even if they belong to the same fan center, they are two different storage locations. One is 1104 and the other one is 1103. So let's say that once we finish the transfer, if we transfer 1 unit of vaccines, we will decrease this 1995 to 1994. So we will have one less in Goma, and we will have one more in Entebbe. So instead of having 13, we will have 14, because we have moved one item or one vaccine from Goma to Entebbe. And we are always talking about moving stock from one place to the other. On Tuesday, I had questions regarding, but what if the item is in use? What if the laptop was issued out to a staff member and we want to move it to a different region? For items in use, all right, you can just change the staff member that is assigned to that computer, and you can just change the functional location, right? The process we are talking about today, it's about the transfer of stock that is located in different storage locations. Is that clear? Okay. All right. So let's say that we want to transfer these three materials. So this one is a computer, vaccines, and these ones are paper. All right. We have here the source storage location, and here we have the receiving storage location. Okay. For the vaccines, we can already indicate the batch number we want to transfer. And for the computer, we can indicate if we want to transfer a new computer or an old computer. And remember that in the stock overview, we were able to see how many we have as old and how many we have as new. All right. So in the system, we can distinguish how many we have new, how many we have old. So this will be the reservation. The last material, it's paper, and we don't need to specify anything because it's not batch managed, it's not split valuated. If we put that material into the stock overview report, we will see that there is a total quantity, there is no new old, there is no batch. We have total amounts in the different storage locations, but it's not split valuated or batch managed. Right, so this will be the reservation. We can just, as an inventory user, we can just post the reservation document, right? Post the reservation document, and we will have the reservation document number posted here at the bottom. It's 10568. Okay, so this is the reservation that has been created by the inventory user. All right. So the second step, as indicated in the presentation, would be, as an inventory senior user, to approve the reservation. If we don't perform this step, we cannot, as an inventory user, we cannot post MIGO. Even if we try to do it, we will get an error message. So if we try to do MIGO and we say transfer posting using reservation, and we try to put the number 10568, right? And we click on execute, the system will say that it's not possible. So it does not contain any selectable items, meaning that the reservation has not been yet approved. All right. So in order to continue, we will have to connect in the system as an inventory senior user and approve the reservation. So now I'm logging in as a inventory senior user, and I'm gonna log into the SAP business workplace, and I will look for in the incoming inbox, I will look for the workflow documents, and here I should be able to see 3 line items, one for each material. Remember that we were trying to transfer 3 different materials, so the system will request the inventory senior user to approve each line item. So we should be able to see 3 line items for reservation 10.568. So here we have the 3 line items. So as an inventory senior user, I will have to open them, review the details, and approve it. All right. I mean, as an inventory senior user, you can always review the reservation. So if you want to review the details, you can always use MB23 and put the reservation document 568. So here we have the details, the ones we just introduced, the ones that we populated as an inventory user. So I'm gonna approve each line item, approve. So that was the first one, approve and approve. All right, so all the 3 line items were approved. I can log off as an inventory senior user. And I go back. So this is, again, the screen using Migo. And before, the system was saying that the reservation 10.568 didn't contain any selectable items. So I can try to do it again. And now the system should tell me that should automatically copy all the information from the reservation. So you see that the 3 line items are there automatically coming from the reservation. The movement type, it's automatically populated. So I have movement type 311, the one that was selected in the reservation. All right. And what else? So if I try to post it, I will still get some errors because but the system will drive us. Okay. So I will have to click on item OK on the 3 materials. All right. Item OK. If I want to post the 3 of them. All right. So you have to select item OK for the 3 different line items if you want to post 3 of them, and I'm going to perform check entries to see if the document is correct, and the system will still give me some error messages. Okay, so in line item number 1, it asks the users about the evaluation type, and for the second line item about the batch. Okay, so what does it mean? So it means it's asking about this field. Okay, so we indicated the new supply. We have to make sure that in the destination, so here in this screen, you have the from, that is the source storage location, and the destination. The destination that is copied from the reservation, that is 1103 Entebbe. So we have to make sure we populate the same valuation type in the destination. So we have to select the valuation type new supplies. All right. So this one is coming from the reservation, but at this point of time, the system is not copying that value in the destination. So we have to populate it manually, unfortunately. So I think it will be solved in the future, but currently it's not automatically populated. Same thing for vaccines. So the batch in the source is coming from the reservation, and we have to make sure we copy that one in the destination, right? So these were the two fields that were missing. We can now check, and we will only have one missing error message. That if we read it, it says maintain serial numbers for total quantity. So if you remember well, in the reservation, we didn't indicate anywhere the serial number, right? So in our scenario, we are transferring one item that is serialized. Okay. The computer is a serialized item, so somehow as an inventory user, we need to indicate which serial number we want to transfer. So if we go to the serial numbers tab, okay, and we select the line item, okay, because in this case we are still referring to vaccines, so we have to change to select the line item for computers, okay, and move to the serial numbers, okay. So in serial numbers, you see that you have a field to indicate serial numbers. In our case, we are transferring only one computer. If we had 10, we will have place here to select 10. All right? So how can we select the serial numbers we want to transfer? So we can type it manually here, but it's much easier to use the find button here. All right? So with this find button, the system will open a report, all right? And if we execute it, it will tell us the serial numbers for that particular material that are located in MONUSCO and in the storage location we are trying to transfer from, all right? And that are new. Okay, so if we run it, if we run this report, it will give us the list of serial numbers that are located in that bin. Sorry, in that storage location. Okay, so if we go back to the stock overview report, and this is the report for paper. So let's move back and select the computer. So we have more than 6,000 computers. Okay, so here we have the list of the 6,000 serial numbers we have available in that storage location. Okay, and from here we can select. In this case, we have to select one. If we had 10, we could select 10 and click on choose. In this case, we have to select only one because we are trying to move only one computer. So we choose that one, and it is gonna be the one we are gonna transfer. All right. This serial number is the one we are gonna transfer. If we have a look at that serial number, let's say we use IE03 and we put that serial number, we will see that this serial number is in stock, is a computer, all right? And we can see that in the stock information, we can see that the storage location for that laptop is Goma, all right? It's new, and its in stock status unrestricted, all right? So now we have defined the serial number we want to transfer. We can click on check, and the system will remove all the error messages. This is just a warning message that is indicating that we already used in the past that batch for a previous transfer, but it's okay. We want to transfer more vaccines of the same batch, so we can post, right? We can post this microtransaction, and once we post it, we will see that the stock level in Goma will decrease. Okay, so instead of 6,037, we will have 6,036, and the stock levels in Entebbe will increase. Instead of 59, we will have 60. All right, so let's post this stock transfer, and we will discuss later because we have a question about warehouse. So here we are still at the steps that affect inventory. All right, so we didn't indicate it so far any bill location in the warehouse and nothing like that. All right, so everything up to now it's related to inventory management. Even the report we showed, this one it's about inventory and it's about stock quantity in each storage location. Right? So now the material document has been posted and the transfer has been completed in the inventory part. Right? Even if we refresh this stock overview report, so if we refresh it, we will see that now we have one more, right, in Entebbe and one less in Goma. So automatically after posting Migo, the stock levels in the source storage location decreases and the one in the destination increases. Right? So the adjustments in inventory are automatically done. Okay, so going back to the presentation, we completed this, the creation of reservation, the approval of the reservation, and the posting Migo. So these are the three steps that relate to inventory. So after this posting, what we can do picking. All right. So in the source warehouse, as a warehouse in your user, we can perform picking. All right. So if we go and we try to display, even in the transfer posting, if we display this material document, transfer posting, yeah, display that material document, we will see that in the warehouse management tab, we can even see the transfer requirement number, 2596, all right? And we can see that the warehouse, this is the source warehouse, E04. So the system automatically created a transfer requirement for picking in this warehouse, okay? But this tab is only appearing after the Migo transaction is posted. So if we open a new session, and now I'm playing the role of the warehouse senior user role, okay? And I want to check for transfer requirements in the source warehouse, okay? So which should be the source warehouse? It should be, so here we have the 5 warehouses for MONUSCO. So we are transferring from Goma to Entebbe. So E04 should be the source warehouse. And if I want to check for transfer requirements, I can check all the transfer requirements, and I can order by transfer requirement number to see the most recent ones. So we said that it was 2596, right? 2596. So in this, you can see that this is the transfer requirement for picking. And from there, we can already start performing picking. So if we do TO in foreground, all right, we have to select the items. For each of them, we can start indicating, okay, from where do I want to pick the laptop? And here we start talking about bins. Okay, so here we have the storage bins and how many you have in each bin. So now we are changing our glasses, and instead of looking at the inventory, we are looking at the bins. Okay, so the computer we have to take, we have more than 3,000. All right. So from where do I want to pick it? I want to pick it from bin this bin 355. All right. And that will be how, as a warehouse senior user, how I will indicate the bin. Right. This for the second material. All right. And for the last material, the same thing. All right. So this is the part of the warehouse senior user to create the transfer order for picking. Right. With this one, I can save it as a warehouse senior user, and I have created a transfer order for picking. That is the 3043. So I have finished creating the transfer order for picking, and now as a warehouse user, I can check it, pick the items, and confirm the transfer order 3043 LT12 3043, and here I have the items I can confirm. All right. So I don't want to spend that much time with the warehouse part, but picking and put away. So after posting Migo, the system will automatically create transfer requirements for picking and for put away, and the warehouse senior user will perform picking and put away transfer orders in the same way they are currently doing. All right. So we completed the one-step stock transfer. Let's any question about the one-step stock transfer before we move into the two steps? All right, can you still hear me? Yes, right? Okay, thank you, Matthew. Thank you. All right, so let's move to the two steps stock transfer. Okay, so how do we do it? So in this case, there is no reservation. So as in this case, there is no reservation. So the everything will be initiated by the inventory user and using Migo. All right, okay. So the inventory user will use Migo, and instead of using transfer posting reservation, they will select other. They will make sure that movement type is 313. All right. And they will make sure that, and in this case, after selecting 313, all the data about the different materials have to be entered manually. All right, so how do we do it? Let's say we want to select similar materials, so we select the computer, we select the plant, and the source storage location. Okay, so this is the Goma. In the destination storage location, let's select Entebbe. Here we select the quantity. So let's say we want to select, instead of moving one computer, in this case we are going to move 4, okay, to make it different, right? So we have our first line. So we are moving 4 computers. We will have to select again the type of computers, okay? So we are going to move again new computers. If you want to move, let's say 2 new and 2 old, you will have to create 2 different lines. one line for new with quantity 2, and another line for old with quantity 2, all right? So in this case, we are moving 4 computers. If we want to add more materials into this transfer, we click on next item, right? If we move into next item, again, I can select a different material. I can select the same plant, right? And I can say I want to move 2 vaccines, selecting the batch number, all right? So now, instead of only one line item, I have 2 different ones, okay? And I can repeat that one to add a third material. For example, the paper again, right? And let's say I want to move 10, right? So I have defined the 3 materials I want to add. So I have the source storage location, the destination, and even the movement type. It's automatically coming here. Let's see. Movement type for all of them, it's 313. That is the one we have to use for 2 steps stock transfer. All right. So we can go to the previous items. We have clicked on item OK for all of them. We can check, and the only thing that should be missing is the serial numbers again, okay? Because we have indicated the evaluation type, but not the serial numbers. So again, as we did before, we go to the serial numbers tab. And in this case, we are trying to move 4. So we have to select 4 serial numbers, right? So we can use the same approach, use the find button, run the report. So it has the material number, the already the storage location, and the evaluation type. We run it, and now I will have to select 4, right? Instead of 1, I will have to select 4. So let's say I want to select this one. So as an inventory senior user, I will have to select 4, choose, right? Okay, and the system will automatically copy the selected serial numbers. If I click on check, the error message is gone, all right? And I will be able to post, okay? And after posting, again, the stock levels will decrease, okay? So let's see what are our stock levels for, let's refresh. So we still have 60 in Entebbe and more than 6,000 in Goma. So now we are going to move 4 from Goma to Entebbe, right? And we are going to move specifically these 4 serial numbers that we can, let's review the equipment number with IE03. This is one of the equipments. And again, this one, insert data, they should be in Goma. So now we are going to move them to Entebbe. So let's post the material document. So after this material document is posted, if we refresh the stock overview, we will have 64 here. Sorry, now we are doing 2 steps transfer, okay? So after refreshing this stock overview, we will for sure have 4 less in Goma, but in Entebbe, we will not still have them, okay? Because if we go back to the presentation, the stock is placed in the receiving storage location after we post the second Migo. All right. So we have only done this Migo transaction. So what I'm expecting is that these stock levels to decrease, but this one to remain still the same. So let's refresh, and we have 4 less here, okay, but we still have 60 in Entebbe. We haven't received them in Entebbe. And if we look at the equipment that used to be in Goma, if we run this one again, okay, it's already in Entebbe, but it's still the stock type, instead of being unrestricted, it's stock in transfer. Okay, so this one, it's still stock in transfer. So what we are supposed to do now is the second Migo. So in the second Migo, we will have to use the material document 4900032048. Okay, so this is the material document we will use to post the second Migo transaction. Okay, as we indicate here in the slide. So the inventory user will use again Migo, and he will have to select place in storage, material document, and he will have to indicate the material document posted in the first Migo, right? All this information is in the presentation, so place in storage and select the material document. We execute, and all the information is copied from the first Migo. We have the quantities, the ones we selected, we have the batches, even the serial numbers are the 4 we selected in the first Migo. So everything is coming from the first Migo transaction. Even the movement type is automatically defaulted to 315. So if we look at the movement types, let's movement type, let's see if we find it. So movement type is automatically populated to 315. So this second Migo transaction is quite easy. So it's only a matter of selecting the material document, clicking on item OK for the 3-line items, clicking on check that is going to be everything's going to be fine, and then click on post to receive the items in Entebbe in this case. So now I have completed the second Migo transaction, so I can go back again to the stock overview, and if I refresh, I should see, instead of 60, I should see the 64. So now I can see that I have the 4 that were in transit, I have them in Entebbe. And if I look at the equipment that was still stock in transfer, if I refresh this T code, I will see that now this stock type, it becomes unrestricted. So the equipment is available to be used. All right. So we did the part of inventory. The part of warehouse, it's very similar. So it's the same thing. After the first Migo, you have the transfer requirement for picking, and after the second Migo, you have the transfer requirement for put away. So the same T codes, same process for warehouse senior users. Okay. So I have a question in the chat from Paola about when to use each method. Okay. So this is currently it's up to the mission to decide which one suits best for them. So the difference, you can see already the differences, right? For one step, there is a reservation with the involvement of the inventory senior user. So if for your mission, Matthew says that my voice is gone. Can you listen to me properly? Okay, thank you, Matthew. So regarding the differences, in the one step, you can see that the inventory senior user is involved. So if for your mission it's important the involvement of the inventory senior user for any stock transfer, use the one-step stock transfer. All right. Regarding the two steps, the benefit of this one is that you have a kind of an understanding between, from the moment the goods are issued out and the moment the goods are received. Okay, so if you have, for example, if the two storage locations are kind of physically separated and you will have to ship the materials and it will take a few days from the items to be shipped and to be received, with these two steps you will have an understanding of when the items are really in the destination. With this one step, after you post MIGO, the items will decrease in the sending and will automatically increase. So you will kind of see the items available already in the receiving storage location, and maybe they are not yet there. Okay. So if the storage locations are separated and it will take a while between the sending and the receipt, the two steps can provide you with more accurate information on that regard. Okay. Time is gone, but yeah, questions, comments. Meanwhile, I have this. I have to show to you the error message. If you try to move from storage locations that are linked to different fund centers. Okay. So let's say we use transfer posting other 313, and we try to move this material. All right. Okay. So let me show to you this error message. Okay, so we were trying to move from 114 to 1103, right? That these storage locations are linked to the same fund center. If we try to use a different one that is not linked to the same fund center, for example, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's select, for example, the instead of one forum engineering, let's say I want to select medical, okay, medical Mukabu, and I want to move one. All right. So if I check, right? So in this case, because before we were doing the check in the reservation, but at the moment of MIGO is when the system will check. So movement is not allowed across funds or across functional areas in the same plant. All right. So at the moment of MIGO is when the system will automatically check if the storage locations are linked to the same fund center. All right. So you have from that side a check being automatically performed by the system. Right. Okay, so regarding this whole check post button, so we have used check and post. If you hold it, the document will still be there, but it has not been posted. Okay, so you can just recover later on the document and post it later. So in case you have been completing, 10 items, you don't want to post it, but you don't want to lose this document, so you can hold it and take it back later. Right? So for example, I can hold it. All right, and then document hold. All right, and then it will appear there, right, as document hold. So if you go, you exit and you have to leave that day, and then you want to you go back, and the document will be here, all right? Will be here, hold, for you to process that document a different day. Okay? So, Cesar, regarding the system will check, the system will check that the transfer is being done between storage locations linked to same fund center. Okay, but it's done at the moment of posting Migo. All right, so I will share with you the presentation. So I have your contact details because you all logged in for the WebEx. So thank you very much for joining. And definitely I will share with you right after this WebEx, I will share with you the presentation. And in the following days, you will also receive from us the exercises so that you can practice by yourself. All right? So thank you very much for attending. And we'll keep in touch. Last question, Gunalan, regarding the bin-to-bin transfer. Okay, so bin-to-bin transfer, it's a different thing. It's not done using Migo, and it's done using LT01 and directly by warehouse roles. Okay, so in this case, we are transferring stock from one bin to another bin, so we have to use the movement type 999, okay, that is warehouse movements. All right, so in this case we are moving from one bin to another bin. Okay, so it's a different thing, and you can have a look at this process in the bin-to-bin transfer. You can have a look at the training transactional. If you look for warehouse, you open the user guide, right? And in this user guide, you have this goods transfers in the warehouse, all right? So you can see that it's done using the LT01. Okay, so this goods transfer in the warehouse is what we mean by the bin-to-bin transfer. Okay, and here you have the screenshots, the movement type 999, and the different steps. All right. Okay. And to plan. All right. So Abdullah, regarding the assets and equipment that are transferred from one plant to another plant. All right. So if it's a plant-to-plant transfer, plant-to-plant transfer, it's what we call here in this presentation the transfer between different missions, and it's done with the always for DFS with the STRs and STOs. All right. Okay. And if remember that we are always talking about items in stock. So if the items are in stock, the storage locations are linked to only one fund center. So from the stock point of view, the assets belong or are held in a storage location that is only linked to one fund center. So storage locations, as we can see here, the storage locations can only be linked to one fund center. So it cannot be that a stock held in engineering belongs to two different fund centers. So equipment or fixed assets that are stored in one particular storage location is only funded by one fund center. Okay, but more detailed questions or concerns, remember, any type of question, you have our email. You will have our email in the presentation. Okay. So we have to disconnect. Sorry, we have to disconnect from this session. Remember to have a look always at the umoja.un.org website. You have training materials and job aids, the two most important links for you in the umoja.un.org. Okay. So thank you very much for attending, and we'll keep in touch. All right. Thank you.